what I'm going to repeat. And also at the end, we will have a surprise for you. That now in the evening session. Okay, let's go with this interesting topic, overreaching and overtraining. Through this presentation, do a little bit of definition, criteria of overtraining syndrome and clinical force of it. Actually, I see a lot of people with overtraining syndrome and signs and symptoms and how we can manage basically athletes with overtraining syndrome. Overtraining syndrome in general is a complex syndrome with physical, psychological, emotional, immunological, and biochemical changes in general. Overtraining syndrome comes from excessive training and inadequate recovery overall in the talk. There are a couple of names for it. Sometimes you will see in journals or books, burnout, overworked, overstressed, stubbornness, and unexplained, basically underperformance. And usually we see about, as you can see on the slides, 30% of team athletes and 50% of individual sport athletes, and those people, they go to the gym, they suffer from overtraining syndrome. There's something that's called overreaching. Overreaching basically is something before overtraining, like osteopenia and osteoporosis. They are not the same. Osteopenia is one step before osteoporosis. So you can see with the overreaching is a shorter decrease in performance in training, and usually comes from, as I said, excessive training and non-training stresses with or without symptoms. Usually the people diagnosed with overreaching syndrome, usually they can be recovered in 2 weeks. However, if any overreaching case, you left them untreated, usually they're going to end up developing overtraining syndrome. That is my topic for today. Okay, this chart I picked up, you can see from there, from the European College of Sport Science. There are 3 different terms: functional overreaching, non-functional overreaching, and overtraining syndrome. Usually the first one, functional overreaching, we consider something positive. Usually, you can see we have over the short-term overreaching, and usually takes say over there, usually you see it's usually days and weeks. Usually something compensated catch, it's considered positive. When we say overreaching, that means non-functional. Usually we mean this one. We talk about this one, non-functional. Usually this one takes weeks to months, and is something definitely negative, something we don't like to see among our athletes. And definitely overtraining syndrome, which takes usually a month. Okay, here are the 4 criteria. If you want to diagnose someone with overtraining syndrome, number 1, it's a combination of training and non-training stresses. So overtraining syndrome doesn't come necessarily from too much exercise. It's a combination of training and non-training stresses. Let's say, I give you a couple of examples. Someone exercises every single day, and the person is having issue with the family, the person has issue with the work, they are behind the mortgage, they had a car accident, so many things are going on. So we have a combination of exercise and non-exercise stresses together. The second criteria is that we have a combination of physiological and psychological signs and symptoms. We have to see them, and I'm going to show those signs and symptoms. And usually it's going to affect their performance more than 2 months, and definitely they need to recover basically fully from the symptoms. So if someone has these 4 criteria, you can label them overtraining syndrome. Okay, well, the pathology behind it, I guess happens. Common hypothesis about overtraining syndrome. So I'm going to go one by one. I'm not going into details that are extremely complex, and I don't have time. I wish I had time. I could talk about sport until tomorrow morning, but I don't have that much time. So the first hypothesis is called the glycogen hypothesis. The second mechanism, usually they say this is the one that's called HPA axis, hypothalamus pituitary and adrenal gland axis.